Ask people, have you ever had a near-death experience? You know what? 5% of the whole population will say they've had a near-death experience. That's a lot of people. This is a big deal. This is coming our way. And here's the good news. It doesn't matter about the age of the person that's giving that's giving their information, their culture. It doesn't matter if they're Muslim or Catholic or any others. Eskimo, Swahili. It doesn't matter about their beliefs or their education or their geography, where they are on Earth. The same knowledge came forward from these people. So we can feel very good about this. There's a surprising consistency on how they describe the divine being on the other side. You know, it's hard to describe God. Incredible love, light, grace, and acceptance. Oh, that feels so good. To know that when you go to the other side, you're going to feel this great acceptance and you're going to be loved with no conditions. In fact, it gets so good that people get there, they don't want to come back. They beg that they can stay. They've had 4,000 entries to use and divide them up into scientific structures so that they can study them. Here are some of the words, their own words and their reflections. There is no death, they say. People come back and they say, they're convinced there's no death. I was filled with love, they say, and I felt loved. Well, these researchers decided, let's do a God study. Let's find out what everybody had to say about what their experience was with God. Well, here's some of the things they said. It's amazing, but the researchers were very impressed with how often people described encounters with God, and they were very similar. And they're transparent. Here's the thing. If you're a scientific-minded person, you can go to the NDE website and study all of the subjects that put things in there, the whole 4,000 if you want, and there's many more now. But they feel, the scientists believe, they left nothing out. They didn't take anything out because, oh, that wouldn't fit. No, they're all there for you to decide. They felt that bias was not a problem in their study, and I'm with them. What did the NED experiences have to say about God's love? Let's look at that. God's love, that's so important. Love, because love is a very central issue in this whole talk, and in our whole being here, and our whole purpose on life, on earth. And I want to correlate that for you. Love is an all-encompassing presence, they said. Love is the greatest power in the universe, some said. God's love is infinite, they said. I mean, people were really ecstatic. People that go there are very ecstatic with what they see. And there's much more. Read the book. Ovid gave me the book. Where do you get this book? He gave it to me as a present. He said, "Here, John, I like the way you do précis, and if you want to present it, go ahead." And I read it and I said, yes, this is a presentation that has to be made. So here's a summary of love. It is transforming. The experience that they have on the other side transforms them. People come back and they're different people. They could be atheists and they come back and now they're highly spiritual seekers. It becomes a part of the very purpose of one's life. Love becomes the purpose of one's life. And that's what it should be. There's good reasons for that. They said, "I knew that my soul was immortal." Well, you've been told that in different talks that we've had. We've talked about God gave us a gift of immortality and so forth. And yes, we can put that away into our stack pile of information in our brain. But just think about it. Just think about it. How important is that we are immortal, that we cannot die? Ovid gave me another book. It was called Consciousness, period, Consciousness. It's that thick. I started reading it. Every page was practically the same. Because it would say, well, just take a look at how consciousness feels in your big toe. Just think about how consciousness feels here or there or under these circumstances. And you start to realize that consciousness is something that you can't, it's just part of us, this a special part of us as human beings. And each person on earth is meant to perfect skills that require them to fulfill their purpose. And what is their purpose? It's mostly the meaning of love in their life and in their afterlife. I hope I'm being clear here, because I want you guys to get this, and I want to get it. Some people said God was everything and everywhere. And I'm just thinking of the song as we were singing it. God is everywhere. He's everywhere and he's everything. And that's corroborated by people when you get to the other side. God is right here with you right now, always. And that's not just a kind of religious saying. That's the way it is. I was one with God, they said. The collective soul. I felt like part of the collective soul. You could just, those words describe it well enough that you could really feel that. The profound and reassuring message of NDE is that God is with us every moment. That is good. That's good news, and I want to give you that. God's with you every minute. So now you can feel just confident. There's no reason to be fearful of anything. Other things this subject had to say. They said that situations here on earth are not all that important. Situations are necessary for us to be able to learn from them. But what's important is how we approach them and what we do about it. Were we kind? Were we loving in that? Or were we trying to be right? Or were we trying to make money off the situation or other things? If the answer is no, if we already understand this, that if the situation isn't a big deal, it's what you do with it and how you act, how you think. It's all about learning. We have a purpose. We are needed. It's nice to feel that we're needed. We're needed by God. And And we need to love ourselves and then others. And as I explained to you, I don't know, was it 2 talks ago or whenever I talked about love, that you can't love anybody else very well until you love yourself. It's not a cliche. It's like you have to learn how to love yourself. And I'll just give you a few words that maybe will help you get on that path. By accepting yourself and others, we overcome fears. You were talking about not being afraid. When you think this way, when you accept other people, just accept them, accept yourself. A lot of the fear in your life goes away. The importance of love in all of our earthly relationship is the consistent message that people were given on the other side. So, on the other side, they're telling you, come back and just be a good lover. The earth is a big school, apparently. And we've been told that before. We imply spiritual lessons here. That's what it's about. It doesn't have to get complicated. Whatever's happening to us, if you just be loving, like I used to say, like in a sort of a smart ass way, what's the problem? Love's the answer. I don't consider that way anymore. I consider that as a bloody fact. What's the problem? Love is the answer. Love is the answer to our life and all the problems that we're having. Everything is about relationships and taking care of each other. It's the relationships that count. These relationships that we have, you say, well, I have a relationship that's not so good with that person, or I have a relationship. No, relationships is what it's about. So you got to work on those relationships, and you got to inject a lot of love into it and a lot of caring, and then you're on the right track. The next heading is God doesn't judge. God just doesn't judge. He just doesn't. But he asks us to judge ourselves. And you may get to the other side, and he may say, well, can you think of anything that you did that was kind of good or not so good? And just look at your own life. God will say to you, you can be your own judge. God knows full well who we are and what we are, and he still loves us totally and unconditionally. That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. Do you have anybody here on earth that loves you that well? It doesn't matter what you do. Maybe your mother, you know, I've heard of mothers still loving their son, even if he was a rapist or a criminal or whatever the case is. And so, yeah, it comes close, motherly love. That's the way we've got to be. Some people said, I felt like I got all the answers. However, when they pop back into their body, most of that disappears because a curtain comes down. It's called Maya. People in India knew about it for centuries. You've got to come back here without the backup of that information on the other side and figure it out for yourself and get to be able to do it right here. That's your work. You know, we studied the book Home with God, and he told us the same thing. He told us that go there, you know, you're on the other side, and you'll get all this fantastic information about what the afterlife is about. But then he says, you got to go back now and experience those things and really feel them. But Maya comes down then you got to do it on your own. So here's a summary. Near-death experience reveal that death is not the end. It reveals, this book reveals that it's not the end. You die, and if you're an atheist, you wake up and you say, oh my God, I'm still alive. Consciousness can't die. You can't kill it. You can't beat it down with a stick. You can't burn it. You can't do anything. Consciousness goes on forever. And that's what you go on. That's what goes on with you. We've also discovered that there's a wonderful afterlife waiting for us. That shouldn't encourage us to rush there, because there's lots of work to do here. This is profound good news for all of us. Never let your heart close. Every time you skin your knee, or somebody steps on your toe, or somebody says something a little funny to you, don't close your heart. Keep it open. Keep loving them anyway. Just as Mother Teresa would say, I love them anyway, no matter what they say. Keep your heart open. That's the story. And then here's another high point of that talk. Man's potential to love is infinite. In other words, think of yourself as having this great, big cachet of love. And then think about the LLL that I gave you, lather love lavishly. You can afford to lather love lavishly. Just give love everywhere, because you've got so much to give away, you can't possibly give it all away. Man's potential to love is infinite. So, you've got to love yourself first. How do you do that? By caring for yourself. Really caring for yourself. And that's not an ego trip. Respect for yourself. And one of the best ways to do that is to appreciate your uniqueness. We talked about snowflakes when I gave the talk. And you're like a snowflake amongst the billions of people here on Earth. You're absolutely unique. You're you. And don't use labels. My God, labels trick you. Like if you grew up in a family that didn't like black people, and you got that conditioning in your mind, and you just, with one swath, all black people are out. I don't like them. Look at the damage you're doing to yourself. So it tricks you into distancing yourself from others. The secret is just say yes. Say yes to grow more loving. Say yes to grow more loving. Say yes to live, to life, to joy, to others. And be empathetic even with your love. Your love. I wanted to sing a song to you about how these people got together and they loved each other, and then she had to go back to the family, and he was there supporting her even though he loved her very much, and he missed her with deep pain in his heart. But because he loved her, he let her go. And that's the way love should be. It should be not a receiving experience. It should be mostly a giving experience. Give it. And don't care about what comes back at you. Don't worry, it'll come back at you. And if you love people, be sure to keep a good eye on them, because they change as time goes by. And you're surely going to miss something special if you don't keep an eye on that change, so that you can focus in with it. Well, I want to thank Craig for being such a great guy. He does all these wonderful things in society, and then he comes back here, rushes back here, and gets this all put together for us. I mean, I'm just amazed. And I want to thank you guys for coming out. I mean, look, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a big congregation for this. So I feel good about so many things, and I feel good about you guys, and I feel good about this. And thank you for having me, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this, because this helps me enormously. I hope you don't mind that it helps me more than it helps you, probably, because I've spent a lot of time working on it, and therefore I get imbued with it. Thank you.